Listen carefully to what I am about to tell you, for this understanding will free you from the bondage of believing that life happens to you rather than through you. When you look into a mirror, does the mirror test you? Does it judge whether you are worthy of reflection? No, it simply shows you what is presented before it. The mirror has no opinion, no agenda, no purpose other than faithful reflection. So it is with the universe. It is the perfect mirror of your inner state, reflecting back to you with absolute precision the contents of your consciousness. You have been conditioned to believe that the world is something separate from you, something that acts upon you according to laws you cannot understand or control. You have been taught that you must prove yourself worthy, that you must earn your good, that you must pass tests and overcome obstacles placed before you by some external force. This is the great deception that keeps humanity in bondage. This is the lie that prevents you from claiming your divine inheritance. The truth is far more magnificent and far more empowering than you have dared to imagine. You are not a separate being trying to influence a hostile or indifferent universe. You are consciousness itself, expressing as the very universe you perceive. The world you experience is not external to you. It is the outpicturing of your own being, the externalization of your inner states, the faithful reflection of your assumptions about yourself and life. When you understand this principle deeply, truly deeply, you will never again look at your circumstances as something happening to you. You will recognize them as the faithful servants of your consciousness, appearing in your experience to show you exactly what you have been assuming to be true about yourself and your world. Every person in your life, every situation, every challenge, every blessing, all of it is consciousness pushing out from within you, taking form in the world of appearance to mirror back to you the contents of your own mind. But you say, Neville, surely you cannot mean that everything in my experience is my own creation. What about the terrible things that happen? What about injustice? What about suffering? And I say to you that everything without exception is the outpicturing of consciousness. This does not make you responsible for the suffering of others, but it makes you absolutely responsible for your own experience of life. It means that whatever you are experiencing right now is the perfect reflection of your inner assumptions. And more importantly, it means you have the power to change your experience by changing your assumptions. Consider this carefully. If the universe were testing you, then you would be at the mercy of some external judge who decides whether you pass or fail. You would be powerless, waiting for approval from forces beyond your control. But if the universe is reflecting you, then you are the holding the brush that paints your experience. You are the author of your story, the creator of your reality, the operant power in your own life. This shift in understanding changes everything. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin to ask, what in me is creating this experience? Instead of trying to change the world, you focus on changing yourself, knowing that as you change within, the world must change without. Instead of fighting against your circumstances, you recognize them as messengers, showing you exactly what you have been assuming to be true. The law of assumption is always operating. You cannot turn it off any more than you can turn off the law of gravity. At every moment, your assumptions about yourself and your world are hardening into facts in your experience. The universe takes your assumptions as commands and works tirelessly to make them manifest in your life. It does not question whether your assumptions are good or bad, positive or negative, true or false. It simply reflects them back to you as your life experience. This is why Jesus said, "It is done unto you as you believe." He was not speaking of belief as intellectual agreement with certain propositions. He was speaking of belief as the deep assumption about reality that operates beneath the level of conscious thought. Your fundamental assumptions about what is possible for you, about who you are, about what you deserve, about how life works, these are the beliefs that the universe reflects back to you as your reality. When you truly understand that the universe is reflecting you rather than testing you, you realize that every moment is an opportunity to change your reflection while changing what you are assuming to be true. You do not need to wait for permission from the world. You do not need to prove yourself worthy. You do not need to pass any tests. You need only assume the truth of what you desire to experience And the universe must reflect that assumption back to you as your reality. But how do you change your assumptions? How do you alter the deep patterns of thought and feeling that have been creating your current experience? The answer lies in understanding the nature of consciousness itself. Consciousness is not something you have. Consciousness is what you are. You are not a body with consciousness. You are consciousness appearing as a body. You are not a person having experiences. You are the very awareness in which all experiences appear. When you identify yourself with consciousness rather than with the limited person you appear to be, you discover that you have the power to assume any state of being you choose. You are not bound by your past, by your circumstances, by your limitations. These are simply patterns of assumption that can be changed by taking on new assumptions about who you are and what is possible for you. The technique I teach you is beautifully simple. Before you sleep each night, assume that you already are what you desire to be. Do not assume that you will become it someday. Assume that you are it now. Feel what it would feel like if your desire were already fulfilled. Live in that assumption as you drift off to sleep, and let your subconscious mind, which never sleeps, work throughout the night to externalize that assumption in your waking world. This is not mere positive thinking or wishful fantasy. This is the conscious direction of the creative power of consciousness itself. When you assume a state and persist in that assumption, you are not trying to convince the universe to give you what you want. You are recognizing that what you want already exists in consciousness, and you are choosing to identify with it rather than with its absence. The universe is not a testing ground where you must prove your worth. It is a reflecting pool that shows you exactly who you believe yourself to be. When you change your self-concept, when you revise your fundamental assumptions about yourself, the reflection must change. This is law. This is not theory or philosophy. It is the way consciousness operates. Think of it this way: if you are standing before a mirror and you do not like what you see, do you try to change the reflection in the mirror? Of course not. You change yourself and the reflection automatically changes. Similarly, if you do not like your life circumstances, do not waste your energy trying to change the outer world. Change your inner assumptions, and the outer world must conform to your new inner state. This understanding frees you from the exhausting effort of trying to manipulate conditions and circumstances. It frees you from the anxiety of wondering whether you are worthy of your desires. It frees you from the fear that the universe might decide to test you with suffering or lack. The universe has no agenda for you other than to reflect perfectly whatever you assume to be true about yourself and your life. But you must be honest about what you are actually assuming, not what you think you are assuming or what you would like to be assuming. Your assumptions are revealed by your experiences. If you are experiencing lack, you are assuming lack somewhere in your consciousness. If you are experiencing limitation, you are assuming limitation. If you are experiencing love and abundance, you are assuming love and abundance. This is not about blame or judgment. It is about empowerment. When you realize that your experiences are reflecting your assumptions, you gain the power to change your experiences by changing your assumptions. You move from being a victim of circumstances to being the creator of circumstances. The beauty of this understanding is that it makes every moment of your life meaningful. Nothing is random. Nothing is meaningless. Everything is consciousness expressing itself. Everything is the universe showing you the contents of your own mind. Even what appears to be negative or challenging is not punishment or testing. It is consciousness lovingly showing you what you have been assuming so that you can choose to assume something different if you wish. This is the great secret that mystics and sages have known throughout the ages. You are not separate from the universe you experience. You are the universe experiencing itself subjectively. The world is not happening to you, it is happening as you. When you realize this, you stop fighting against life and start collaborating with the creative power of consciousness. But collaboration requires understanding how consciousness works. Consciousness always expresses itself through assumption. Whatever you assume to be true about yourself becomes true in your experience. This is not magic or metaphysics in some esoteric sense. It is the fundamental nature of consciousness itself. Consciousness must express itself, and it expresses itself according to the assumptions it holds about itself. When you assume you are limited, consciousness expresses limitation in your experience. When you assume you are abundant, consciousness expresses abundance. When you assume you are loved, consciousness expresses love through the people and circumstances in your life. When you assume you are alone, consciousness creates experiences of isolation and separation. The universe is not testing whether you deserve love, it is reflecting your assumption about whether you are lovable. The universe is not testing whether you deserve success, it is reflecting your assumption about whether you are successful. The universe is not testing whether you deserve happiness, it is reflecting your assumption about whether you are happy. This means that changing your life is not about convincing the universe to treat you differently. It is about assuming differently about yourself so that the universe has something different to reflect. The universe cannot reflect what you do not assume to be true about yourself. It can only reflect what is active in your consciousness as a living assumption. This is why affirmations alone often fail to produce results. If you affirm I am wealthy while deeply assuming you are poor, the universe reflects your deeper assumption, not your self-affirmation. The universe responds to what you actually believe about yourself, not to what you say you believe or what you wish you believed. To change your reflection, you must change at the level of assumption. You must begin to assume, to take for granted, to accept as natural and inevitable the truth of what you desire to experience. You must live in the assumption of your wish fulfilled until that assumption becomes the natural state of your consciousness. This requires what I call a revision of your self-concept. Your self-concept is the sum total of all your assumptions about who you are, what you are capable of, what you deserve, what is possible for you. It is the filter through which consciousness expresses itself in your particular experience. Change your self-concept, and you change your world. But how do you revise your self-concept? How do you take on new assumptions about yourself? The answer is through the disciplined use of imagination. Imagination is not escapism or fantasy, it is the creative power of consciousness itself. When you imagine yourself to be other than what you appear to be, when you feel what it would be like to have your desire fulfilled, you are not pretending. You are exercising the fundamental power of consciousness to assume states of being. Night after night, as you prepare for sleep, imagine yourself to be the person you want to be. Feel what it feels like to be that person. See yourself living the life you want to live. Hear the conversations you would have. Feel the emotions you would feel. Experience the reality you want to create. Do this not as a technique to get something, but as an acknowledgement of what you already are in consciousness. Remember, consciousness is the only reality. The physical world is consciousness made visible. When you change your assumptions in consciousness, you change what consciousness has available to express as your physical experience. The universe must reflect your new assumptions because reflection is its nature. It has no choice in the matter. This is not about deserving or earning or being tested. This is about assuming and reflecting. The universe is a perfect mirror that must show you what you are assuming to be true about yourself. Change your assumptions, and you change your reflection. Persist in new assumptions, and they harden into facts in your experience. But persistence requires faith, and faith is not blind belief in something you hope might happen. Faith is the confidence that comes from understanding how consciousness works. When you know that the universe must reflect your assumptions, you have faith in your ability to create the life you desire by assuming the truth of that life. The universe is not withholding your good until you prove yourself worthy. Your good exists right now in consciousness, waiting for you to assume it as your own. The universe is not testing your patience, or your strength, or your character. It is reflecting whatever you are assuming about patience, strength. If you assume that good things come to those who wait, the universe reflects delay. If you assume that you must struggle for everything you get, the universe reflects struggle. If you assume that life is hard and then you die, the universe reflects hardship and limitation. But if you assume that you are blessed, that life supports you, that your desires are natural and inevitable, the universe reflects that assumption as your lived experience. This understanding transforms your relationship with desire itself. Desire is not something to be ashamed of or something that proves you are lacking. desires consciousness, indicating what it wants to express through you. When you desire something, consciousness is telling you that this thing already exists in the realm of possibility and is seeking to manifest through your experience. The universe places desires in your heart not to torture you with wanting what you cannot have, but to inform you of what consciousness wants to express as your reality. Your desires are not random. They are the universe's way of communicating with you about what it wants to create through your life. When you realize this, you stop fighting against your desires and start assuming their fulfillment. You recognize that the desire itself is evidence that what you want already exists in consciousness and is seeking to manifest in your experience. The universe that gave you the desire is the same universe that will reflect its fulfillment when you assume that fulfillment as your natural state. This is the great reversal of understanding that changes everything. Instead of seeing the universe as separate from you, testing you, judging you, deciding whether to grant your requests, you see the universe as your own consciousness made visible, faithfully reflecting your assumptions back to you as your experience of life. When you live from this understanding, every day becomes an opportunity to consciously choose what you want the universe to reflect. Instead of reacting to circumstances as if they were imposed upon you from outside, you recognize them as reflections of your inner state and use them as feedback to guide your assumptions. If you see lack in your life, you know that somewhere in your consciousness you are assuming lack. If you see love in your life, you know you are assuming love. If you see opportunity, you are assuming opportunity. If you see limitation, you are assuming limitation. The universe is simply being faithful to its nature as the perfect mirror of consciousness. This makes you the author of your own experience in the most literal sense. Every assumption you hold about yourself and your world is a word you speak into the universe, and the universe must speak that word back to you as your reality. You cannot speak words of lack and have the universe respond with abundance. You cannot assume limitation and have the universe reflect unlimited possibility. But you can change your assumptions. You can revise your self-concept. You can choose what you want the universe to reflect back to you. This is your divine inheritance as consciousness itself. This is your power as the operant force in your own experience. The universe is not testing you to see if you are worthy of love. It is waiting for you to assume that you are lovable so it can reflect love back to you through every person and situation in your life. The universe is not testing you to see if you deserve abundance. It is waiting for you to assume abundance so it can reflect prosperity in all its forms. This is why Jesus said, "Whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive." He was not talking about asking an external God for favors. He was talking about assuming the truth of what you desire and letting consciousness reflect that assumption as your reality. The asking is the assuming, the believing is the persistence in that assumption, and the receiving is the inevitable reflection of what you have assumed to be true. The universe is not your judge, it is your servant. It exists to reflect perfectly whatever you assume to be true about yourself and your life. It has no agenda other than faithful reflection. It does not decide whether you deserve what you desire. It simply gives you the experience of whatever you assume to be true. This understanding eliminates the need for worthiness, for earning, for proving yourself. The universe does not require you to be worthy any more than a mirror requires you to be worthy of reflection. You simply need to present yourself before the mirror of consciousness with the assumptions you want reflected, and reflection is automatic. But you must be the one to change your assumptions. The universe cannot assume for you. It can only reflect what you assume. If you continue to assume the same things about yourself and your life, the universe must continue to reflect the same experiences. If you want different experiences, you must assume different things. This is both the simplest and the most challenging aspect of conscious creation. It is simple because all you need to do is assume what you want to be true and persist in that assumption. It is challenging because it requires you to take complete responsibility for your experience and to stop looking outside yourself for the source of your circumstances. When you truly understand that the universe is reflecting you rather than testing you, You stop being a victim of circumstances and become the conscious creator of your experience. You stop waiting for the world to change and start changing your assumptions about the world. You stop asking why things are happening to you and start choosing what you want to have happen as you. This is the great awakening, the realization that you are not separate from the universe you experience, but are the very consciousness through which the universe knows itself. The world is not external to you, it is the externalization of your own inner states. The people in your life are not separate beings acting independently. They are consciousness appearing in forms that reflect your assumptions about yourself and others. When you know this, really know it, not just intellectually, but as the living truth of your being, you are free. Free from the need to prove yourself. Free from the fear of being tested. Free from the anxiety of wondering whether you are worthy of your desires. You are free to assume whatever you choose to be true about yourself and your life, knowing that the universe must reflect those assumptions as your lived experience. This is not theory. This is not philosophy. This is the way consciousness works. This is the law of your being. The universe is reflecting you right now, showing you exactly what you have been assuming about yourself and your life. If you want to see something different in the mirror of your experience, you must assume something different about yourself. The power is yours. The choice is yours. The universe is waiting, ready to reflect whatever you choose to assume about yourself and your reality. It has no preferences, no judgments, no tests to administer. It simply reflects faithfully and perfectly the contents of your consciousness. What will you choose to assume? What do you want to see reflected in your experience? The universe stands ready to mirror it all back to you, for this is its nature, its purpose, its joy to be the perfect reflection of the infinite creative power that you are.
You will be a millionaire in 1 month, not because of effort, not because of hustle, not because of anything the world teaches, but because you will awaken to the truth. Imagination creates reality. The moment you accept this as a fact, not as a theory, your life begins to unfold in accordance with your assumptions. The riches you desire, the lifestyle you long for, the security you dream of, they are not out there. They are within you, awaiting your command. And in exactly 1 month, if you dare to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you will watch the outer world bend to your inner world. Do not ask how. That is the fatal error. To ask how is to admit that you do not yet believe. The how belongs to God, to the deeper dimension of yourself. Your task is not to figure out the bridge of incidents that will lead to your millions. Your task is to accept the end, live in the end, feel the reality of already having what you want. For that which you accept as true of yourself, though denied by the senses, if persisted in, will harden into fact. So do not look to the newspapers, the bank account, or the outer circumstances. These are the shadows of previous assumptions. They are echoes of the old man, not the new you. The new you is a millionaire now. You must walk as though you already possess what the world says is still to come. You must dine with the wealthy in your imagination. Walk through your mansion in consciousness. See the figures in your bank account as done. Final, unquestioned. I am not speaking poetically. I am speaking literally. Everything in this world is a manifestation of imagination. The house you live in, the clothes you wear, the voice you hear, all came forth from an inner act. Someone imagined it, dared to believe in the invisible, and the visible world conformed. So if you say, I want to be a millionaire, that is not enough. Wanting is the confession of lack. You must say instead, I am a millionaire, not tomorrow, not later, now. Even if the senses say no, even if the bills pile high, even if logic and friends call you mad, you must persist. For God in you is your own wonderful human imagination. It is He who speaks when you dare to believe something grand about yourself. It is He who fulfills when you dare to persist, despite appearances. And in exactly 1 month, if you persist, you will see the fruits of your assumption. Consider the story of a man who was down to his last dollar. He had no hope, no job, no prospects. But he heard these truths and began to live as though he were already wealthy. He imagined himself writing checks freely, gifting his family generously, waking up in abundance. He did it so often, and with such faith that he could feel the weight of money in his hands. And then one morning, he received a phone call. A forgotten investment had matured, and he was now worth millions. He did nothing in the outer world to make it happen. He simply accepted it as real in his imagination. You see, the law does not care whether the assumption is true or false. It simply reflects what is impressed upon it. You are the operant power. You choose what to believe. And if you will believe that you are already wealthy, that the money is already yours, that every need is met, then you will watch reality reorganize itself to reflect that inner conviction. It must, for the world is a mirror, and it reflects what you are, not what you want. So be the thing you seek, and the thing will come running to you. This is not positive thinking. This is not about making yourself feel good. This is about entering a state of consciousness that matches the result you desire. If you can enter and remain in that state, you will manifest the conditions, people, opportunities, and events that match it. So let us now enter the state of the millionaire. How would you walk? How would you speak? How would you think? You would no longer worry about bills. You would no longer shrink from generosity. You would feel a quiet confidence, a divine satisfaction, a steady knowing. That feeling is the secret. All transformation begins with assumption. The assumption of the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the creative act. It is done in silence, in stillness within. You may do it while lying on your bed, while riding the bus, while waiting in line. And if you do it with sincerity, with intensity, with repetition, the world will conform. You do not need to advertise it. You do not need to convince anyone. You need only convince yourself. For the only God who matters in this equation is the one inside you. He is not far off. He is not in some sky. He is in your imagination, waiting to be awakened. To be a millionaire in 1 month, you must think from the end. Do not think of money. Think from money. Do not imagine getting rich. Imagine already being rich. Hear the conversations people would have with you. See the letters you would write. Feel the joy of having more than enough. Use all your senses. Let your imagination be vivid, detailed, alive. For imagination, when felt as real, is the path to manifestation. You do not imagine to escape reality. You imagine to shape it. Each morning when you rise, close your eyes and feel that it is already done. Each night, before you sleep, review the day as though you lived it as a millionaire. Did you act as one? Did you feel as one? Did you walk as one? If not, revise it. In imagination, rewrite the day. Make it match your desire. And in doing this, you plant the seed. And just as surely as spring follows winter, harvest follows planting. The money must come. It must. You will notice subtle changes at first. People will treat you differently. Ideas will flash. Opportunities will knock. You will feel an inner certainty that cannot be shaken. And even if you do not yet see the dollars, you will know they are near. You will feel them forming, like clouds gathering before the rain. Do not dismiss these signs. They are not coincidences. They are evidence that your assumption is taking root. Water it with faith. Do not dig it up with doubt. Trust the process. If you should falter, if fear arises, return at once to the state. Close your eyes and enter again. See the money. Feel the joy. Hear the thank yous. And do this as often as needed. For repetition impresses the subconscious. And once the subconscious accepts it, the outer world must follow. You are not trying to force reality. You are allowing it to become what you have already accepted within. A woman once told me she followed this process and was led to buy a lottery ticket she would have never considered. She did not pick the numbers logically. She simply felt inspired. And when she scratched the ticket, she found herself suddenly in possession of 6 figures. She was not surprised. She had already received it within. The ticket was merely the bridge. And she knew that if she could do it once, she could do it again. The key is feeling. Without feeling, imagination is sterile. But with feeling it is divine. So do not imagine mechanically. Do not repeat empty affirmations. Feel your way into the scene. Dwell in it. Savor it. Let it saturate your being. Let it be more real than what your eyes see. For what your eyes see is temporary. But what you imagine with feeling is eternal and creative. In 1 month, if you will live in the end, Assume the reality of wealth and remain faithful. The millions will come, whether through a sudden opportunity, a gift, a forgotten investment, a new business, or a miracle beyond reason. It does not matter. The method is not your concern. The assumption is your power. Hold to it. Refuse to waver. No matter what the world says, you know the truth. Imagination creates reality. So I ask you now, will you dare to believe? Will you cast off the old man, the man of doubt, fear, lack, and put on the new man, the man of riches, peace, and power? Will you persist even when the world laughs, even when the senses say no? If so, then in 1 month's time, your outer life will mirror your inner conviction. You are not waiting on money. Money is waiting on you. It is waiting on your consciousness to match its frequency. It is waiting on your self-concept to rise. It is waiting on your assumption to be stable. So become now the person who has it. Think as they think. Feel as they feel. Live as they live. Do it boldly. Do it faithfully. Do it joyfully. The law is no respecter of persons. It responds not to virtue, but to vision. Not to effort, but to assumption. So let the world toil and strive, while you enter your inner chamber and commune with the infinite. Imagine boldly, assume lavishly, and persist until the unseen becomes seen. For it must. You are already that which you seek. You simply have not accepted it yet. Accept it now. Accept that you are rich. Accept that you are powerful. Accept that you are the operant power. And then walk in that assumption. For to him who has, more shall be given. And to him who dares, the world bows low. Let this month be your demonstration. Let this month be your proof. Every morning, every night, return to the state. Live in the end. Revise the day. Saturate your mind with images of wealth, sounds of joy, feelings of luxury, and then release it. Walk in peace. Act as though it were already so. And soon it will be. You will be a millionaire in 1 month. Not because of luck, not because of hard work, but because you dared to believe. You dared to imagine and persist. You dared to live in the end. And because of that, the world, this seemingly solid world, will melt and reshape itself to match your inner world. It always does. It always has. Now it's your turn to see it. You must not stop now. The inner work is the true work. And every moment you spend dwelling in the assumption of wealth is a moment charged with creative power. As you repeat this state throughout the day, you will feel a transformation happening within. What once felt like fantasy will begin to feel natural. And when it feels natural, it is done. For nothing comes into your life until it becomes a part of your inner structure. You cannot receive what you do not first accept. So you must begin to see yourself differently. Speak of yourself as already possessing abundance. Do not say, I will have it. Say, I have it now. Do not think of it as coming. Think of it as arrived. This inner shift is not imaginary, in the sense that the world uses the word. It is the only real act. The outer world, though it seems so solid, is nothing more than the condensation of your inner speech and feeling. Watch what you say to yourself. Watch what you accept without questioning. If you tell yourself that becoming a millionaire in 1 month is impossible, then it is for you. But if you begin to say, this is easy, this is natural, it is already done, then the universe will echo that belief. There are no accidents in this world. There is only the outpicturing of states. Your present reality, whether rich or poor, is nothing but the shadow cast by your past assumptions. But the moment you change your assumption, the shadow must change. It cannot resist. It has no power of its own. It only reflects. So if you are not yet seeing evidence of your wealth, do not panic. Do not revert to the old man. Instead, smile and say, it is on its way. It is already mine. The shadow is still catching up. Your job is not to worry about timing, mechanics, or details. Your job is to dwell in the state of already having. And this must be done with feeling. You may not know exactly how it feels to be a millionaire right now, but you can begin. Use your imagination to construct the scenes, the conversations, the small details. How would it feel to pay every bill without a second thought? How would it feel to treat your loved ones to something extravagant? How would it feel to wake up with the knowing that you never again have to worry about money? Let these scenes play in your mind like a sacred movie. Watch them again and again. And do not just watch. Feel them. Let them stir you. Let them impress you. Let them become more real to you than your current bank balance. For the truth is, your current balance is only real because you have continued to give it your attention. Shift your attention, and you shift your world. When you begin to live from the end, the outer world becomes irrelevant. You will no longer look to circumstances to tell you who you are. You will look within, and what you feel yourself to be within, the world will soon reflect. You will notice coincidences that are not coincidences at all. A person will appear with an offer. An old contact will call. A new idea will light up your mind. But these are not the source. They are the effect. The source is your assumption. You are not at the mercy of economics, governments, or fate. You are at the mercy of your own imagination. But once you realize that, you are no longer at mercy. You are in control. This is the great secret, hidden in plain sight. The world will tell you that you must work harder, network more, struggle, and compete. But I tell you, all that is vanity, if it is not rooted in imagination. You may gain the world and lose your soul, but if you gain your imagination, the world is yours without struggle. So if today you sit in a small room, without wealth, without proof, do not despair. That is the perfect place to begin. In fact, it is better, for the world cannot distract you with shiny things. Close your eyes and go within. Begin to feel the room change. See yourself in a place of elegance. Hear the sounds of luxury. Smell the scent of wealth. Let the imagined experience become realer than the one before your eyes. And as you do this, your inner state will change. And when the inner state changes, the outer must follow. You may begin to walk differently. You may speak with more certainty. You may smile for no reason. This is not delusion. This is creation. You are becoming the one who has. You are shedding the skin of the one who hoped and becoming the one who knows. The world may not understand, but it does not need to. It only needs to respond. And it always responds to the one who feels himself already in possession of the goal. In the quiet moments of the day, remind yourself it is done. Not it will be done, but it is done. The million is yours now. You are already living from it. You are already receiving from it. You are already enjoying it. Let that be your new inner conversation. Let it repeat like a song in your soul. You will be tempted to look around and measure your progress, but resist. Faith does not consult appearances. Faith remains steady. And when faith is steady, reality bends. The world is not happening to you. You are happening to the world. As you imagine, as you assume, as you persist, the world reforms itself. It may seem slow at first, but that is only because old assumptions still linger. Be patient, be bold, be consistent. This is not magic, though it may appear so to the uninitiated. This is law, divine law, immutable, precise, and utterly obedient. The riches are not somewhere out there. They are not hidden in a vault, waiting for a stroke of luck. They are here now, waiting for you to rise to their frequency. That frequency is belief. That frequency is assumption. That frequency is the feeling of already being. So ask yourself, not what do I want, but who must I be to already have it, and then become that person. Speak as them, think as them, walk as them. If you find doubt creeping in, do not wrestle with it. Simply return to the state. Let the scene of the fulfilled desire play again. Let the feeling of the fulfilled state return. You do not destroy doubt by fighting it. You dissolve it by starving it. You starve it by feasting on the assumption of the wish fulfilled. All power is in the present assumption, not tomorrow, not next week. Now, this is your power. This is your moment. In this very moment, you may assume that you are the millionaire you desire to be. And if you will remain faithful to that assumption, the world must show it to you. It must. For imagination creates reality, and imagination is always now. So will you dare to imagine the life you desire and live from it without apology, without doubt, without delay? Will you persist when the senses say otherwise? Will you continue when the world offers no confirmation? For if you will, then the world must eventually conform. Do not underestimate the silence in which this work is done. You may not speak it aloud. You may tell no one. Yet in the secret place of consciousness, you are reshaping the very nature of your experience. Each assumption carries with it its own pattern of life, its own quality of events, its own tone. When you assume you are wealthy, the world around you begins to organize itself in alignment with that wealth. It draws to you the people who match that vibration. It reveals to you paths that were hidden from the eyes of the man who believed in poverty. But to the man who assumes wealth, the road appears. Now is the time to discipline the inner speech. You cannot speak lack and live abundance. You cannot grumble about bills and expect freedom. The law is not mocked. It gives you what you continually affirm within. So train your inner conversation to reflect your desired outcome. Speak within, as though you are already rich. Say, I always have more than enough. Say, money flows to me in endless ways. Say, everything I touch prospers. Do not say these things like a parrot. Say them with conviction, with feeling, until they move you, until they feel like the only truth. You do not manifest what you occasionally feel. You manifest what you consistently assume. So keep assuming. Keep returning to the feeling. When you feel tempted to check the bank balance or count the days, remember that all of that belongs to the old man. The new man walks by faith. The new man smiles, knowing it is already done. This is not denial of the senses. This is the recreation of the senses. For the senses only report what you told them to report by past beliefs. If you change the root, the fruit must change. The outer is never cause. It is always effect. Begin to delight in your imagination. Make it a playground. Do not treat it as a chore. Let it be your retreat, your sanctuary. Feel the thrill of it. Let it surprise you. Walk into imagined rooms dripping with opulence. Hear the compliments of those who admire your success. Receive the gratitude of those you've blessed. Let the scenes flow, not with strain, but with pleasure. This is how you loosen the grip of the old world. You do not fight it. You outgrow it. You move beyond it through joyful assumption. Do not concern yourself with the opinions of others. They live in their own dream, and they are free to assume what they will. But their assumptions cannot affect your world unless you accept them. You must become ruthless with the mind. When it offers thoughts of fear or limitation, you must say, that is not my truth, and return to the truth you have chosen. I am wealthy. I am free. I am abundant now. You must say it and feel it, until it becomes automatic, until it becomes your nature. Watch the quiet transformation that unfolds. You will begin to attract conversations about opportunity. You will begin to notice doors opening that were once locked. You may even receive sudden gifts, refunds, increases. Do not call them coincidences. They are reflections of your inner shift. The world must mirror the image you have painted within. It cannot resist it, for it has no choice but to echo the reality you have assumed. Each day, do not ask, where is it? Instead, say, it is here now, and then act as though it is. Even in the small things, how you dress, how you carry yourself, how you give. You may not be able to do what a millionaire does in the outer world yet, but you can feel what he feels. You can imagine what he imagines. You can think as he thinks, and that is the seed that brings the fruit. Let your mind dwell on the truth that all things already exist. The $1 million you desire already exists. It is not being created. It is already finished in the realm of the unseen. You are simply aligning with it, and that alignment is not about hard work or moral worth. It is about state. State is everything. When you enter the state of the man who has all things necessary to that state will find their way to you. So do not focus on the details. Focus only on being. Let yourself become the version of you who already has. If ever you feel resistance, use revision. Take a moment and rewrite the scene that troubled you. Did someone reject your offer? In imagination, let them accept it. Did you receive an unexpected expense? In imagination, turn it into a check received. Use revision not as fantasy, but as correction. You are the author of your world. You do not need to accept what the world hands you. You can rewrite it at will. And as you do, you will find the world begins to yield more favorable scenes in the days that follow. Imagination is not secondary to life. It is life itself. You imagined yourself into your current experience, whether knowingly or unknowingly. And now you will imagine your way into wealth. You will no longer beg or plead or strive. You will assume and allow. That is the way of the master. That is the way of the awakened. You are not here to struggle. You are here to create, and you create not with effort, but with feeling. As you move through these days, watch what you are imagining. Do not let the mind wander aimlessly. Guide it gently, persistently, toward your chosen end. You are not a leaf in the wind. You are the wind itself, and what you blow upon will take form. So direct that wind wisely. Direct it lovingly. Direct it toward wealth, not for the sake of greed, but for the sake of freedom, joy and contribution. The more real it feels within, the faster it appears without. So make it real now. Close your eyes and step into the scene. Hear your own voice say, I did it. I'm free. Feel the relief, the power, the joy. Hear your loved ones celebrate you. Let that scene be more real than any memory. Let it become your new memory. For in the world of imagination, all time is now, and what you imagine now becomes what you remember later. In conclusion, understand this simple yet profound truth. You are the master of your reality. The world you see is but the reflection of your inner state. If you can boldly and unwaveringly assume the feeling of already being a millionaire, then the outer world must conform to that assumption. The wealth you desire is not far away. It exists now, waiting for you to awaken to it. You are not bound by time, circumstances, or the opinions of others. You are the creator of your experience, and the moment you choose to live from the end of your desire, everything in your life must follow suit. Remember, the law of assumption is as certain as any law in nature. It cannot fail. What you persistently imagine with feeling, what you believe with certainty, must appear in your world. You are the architect of your future, and in the next 30 days, if you remain true to your assumption, if you walk, speak, and think as though you are already the millionaire you wish to be, the world will yield to you exactly what you have assumed. Do not let doubt, fear, or the appearance of your current circumstances sway you. Keep your focus on the truth that it is already done. You are already in possession of your wealth. The universe cannot resist the power of your assumption. Step into this truth with confidence, and watch the world bend to your will. The power is within you. The world will follow your lead. You will be a millionaire in 1 month, not because it is an impossible feat, but because you have chosen to assume it. And the world in all its mystery must mirror that assumption. Trust in this law. Trust in your own power, and above all, trust that what is yours is already on its way to you. Now go forward in this knowledge, knowing that you are not waiting for wealth to come to you. You are already living in it. And as you walk this path, remember, the moment you truly believe, the world will make way for your reality to manifest.
Consider for a moment your current approach to achieving your desires. Perhaps you focus intently on the outer world, striving and struggling to make things happen. Maybe you find yourself constantly checking for signs of progress, growing impatient or discouraged when things don't manifest as quickly as you'd like. But I say unto you, this approach is backwards, and it is the very reason why so many find themselves stuck in cycles of wanting and lacking. The secret, my dear listeners, is to trust the process and focus on your inner state. This is not a passive waiting game or a denial of action. It is the very essence of creation, the fundamental principle upon which all manifestation is based. For you see, your inner state is not the result of your outer reality. Your inner state is the cause of your outer reality. Let us delve deeper into this profound truth. Your outer world, everything you experience in your physical reality, is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world, your state of consciousness. It is a mirror faithfully reflecting back to you the sum total of your beliefs, assumptions, and most importantly, your inner state of being. When you understand this, truly understand it, you realize that focusing on changing the outer world without first changing your inner state is akin to trying to change your reflection in the mirror without changing yourself. It is backwards, it is impossible, and it keeps you trapped in a state of perpetual wanting. But how, you may ask, can one trust the process and focus on their inner state when the outer world seems unchanged? The answer lies in the power of your wonderful human imagination. For your imagination is not a mere fantasy maker. It is the very workshop in which reality is forged. When you use your imagination to assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, When you cultivate an inner state aligned with your wish realized, you are not engaging in idle daydreaming. You are engaging in the most powerful creative act known to man. You are impressing upon your subconscious mind a new concept of self, a new assumption about your reality. Let us take a moment to truly understand this. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the outer world. It accepts as true whatever you feel to be true. And once it accepts an idea as true, it proceeds to bring it into manifestation in your physical reality. So when you trust the process and focus on your inner state, when you assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled regardless of outer appearances, you are not being delusional or engaging in wishful thinking. You are actively creating your reality from within. You are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe, allowing it to work through you and for you. This, my dear listeners, is the essence of bringing the fulfillment of your assumption into being. It is about recognizing that the power to shape your reality lies within you, waiting to be expressed through your conscious assumption and inner state. It is about understanding that your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner assumptions and feelings. Consider the biblical phrase, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. This is not about petitioning an external deity. It is about aligning your inner state with the feeling of your desire fulfilled. When you pray believing you have already received, you are assuming the inner state of your wish fulfilled. You are trusting the process, focusing on your inner state, and allowing the outer world to conform to this new inner reality. But let me be clear, trusting the process and focusing on your inner state is not about passivity or simply wishing for good things to happen. It is about a fundamental shift in how you perceive and interact with the world. When you truly embody the state of your desire fulfilled, your actions naturally align with this assumption. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You approach challenges with confidence rather than fear. You make decisions from a place of assurance rather than doubt. Let us explore this further with an example. Imagine a person who desires financial abundance. In the old paradigm of focusing on the outer world, they might work tirelessly, constantly worrying about money, always feeling the lack of it. But in doing so, they are affirming their current state of lack. They are living from the assumption that they do not have abundance. And so the universe faithfully reflects this assumption back to them. Now imagine this same person shifting their approach. Instead of focusing on the absence of money, they assume the inner state of financial abundance. They feel the security, the freedom, the joy that comes with having more than enough. They live each day from this feeling, carrying themselves with the confidence and ease of someone who is truly abundant. In this state, they no longer desperately chase after money. They may still work, but they do so from a place of inspired action rather than desperate need. And in doing so, they become magnetic to financial opportunities. They allow abundance to flow into their life, drawn by the power of their assumption and the clarity of their inner state. This principle applies to every aspect of your life. Whether you seek love, health, success, or any other desire, the key is to first assume the inner state of having already attained it. For what you are seeking is also seeking you, but it can only find expression through you when you align yourself with its frequency. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this denial of reality? And to this I say emphatically no. This is not about denying your current circumstances. It is about understanding the true nature of reality and the creative power of your consciousness. Your current circumstances are nothing more than the fruit of your past assumptions and inner states. They have no power to determine your future unless you give them that power by continuing to focus on them and feel their reality. When you shift your focus, when you assume a new inner state, you are not denying reality. You are exercising your divine right to choose which reality you wish to experience. Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no life of its own. It is your consciousness that gives life to your experiences. When you react to circumstances as if things are not working out, you are breathing life into a reality where things do indeed fail to work out. But when you trust the process and focus on the inner state of your desire fulfilled, you cause your outer world to rearrange itself to match this new inner conviction. This, my dear friends, is the true secret to bringing the fulfillment of your assumption into being. It is about aligning yourself with the law of assumption, recognizing that your desired reality is seeking expression through you, and allowing it to flow into your experience through the power of your imagination and inner state. But let me warn you, this shift in consciousness is not always an easy path. The old habits of reacting to circumstances, of letting your inner state be dictated by what you see, are deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. As you embark on this new way of being, you may find resistance arising within you. Doubts may creep in, old patterns may try to reassert themselves. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts and feelings. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your assumed inner state. For the war is not won by battling against what you don't want, but by persistently embodying the state of what you do want. This persistence, this unwavering faith in the face of contrary evidence, is what allows you to truly bring the fulfillment of your assumption into being. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're trying to listen to a particular station, you don't focus on eliminating all the other stations. You simply tune into the frequency you desire. In the same way, you don't need to fight against your current reality or forcefully push away thoughts of things not working out. You simply need to tune yourself to the frequency of your desire fulfilled, to align yourself with the inner state of being what you wish to be. This tuning is done through your imagination and your ability to generate feeling states. Your imagination is the dial that allows you to tune into different frequencies of experience. As you use your imagination to assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you are tuning yourself to that frequency, allowing the corresponding experiences to flow into your life. But remember, my friends, this is not a one-time event. Trusting the process and focusing on your inner state is a way of life. It's a constant choice to maintain the state of your desire fulfilled, regardless of appearances. Just as you wouldn't expect to stay in shape by exercising once, you cannot expect to manifest your desires by assuming the state once. This is about persistently assuming the state of your wish fulfilled, about living from this consciousness day in and day out, until it becomes your new normal. As you do this, you will find that your perception of events begins to shift. What once seemed like setbacks or failures now appear as stepping stones or valuable lessons. You begin to trust in the perfect unfolding of your life, knowing that everything is always working out for your highest good. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Neville, how can I maintain this inner state when things seem to be going wrong? How can I trust the process when I face real challenges? And to this I say, your imagination is more powerful than any circumstance. Consider for a moment, have you ever been deeply engrossed in a book or a movie? In those moments, were you not feeling real emotions based on imaginary events? Your feelings were real, even though the events were not happening in your physical reality. This is the power you must harness to maintain your desired inner state. You must use your imagination to create scenarios that evoke the feelings associated with your desire fulfilled. Imagine how you would feel if you knew, with absolute certainty, that everything was working out perfectly for you. Feel the peace, the confidence, the joy that would come with that knowledge. Feel these states as vividly and as consistently as you can. The key is to make these imaginal acts as real to you as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the relief of knowing everything is working out. See the evidence of things working in your favor. Hear the conversations you would have if everything was unfolding perfectly. Make it real in your mind, and the feelings will naturally follow. But here's a crucial point, my friends. The goal is not to imagine specific outcomes. The goal is to capture the essence of the feeling state associated with trusting the process and knowing that everything is working out. For it is this feeling state that is the true attractor of your experiences. Let me illustrate this with an example. Suppose you're facing a challenging situation at work. Instead of imagining a specific resolution, capture the feeling essence of someone who trusts the process implicitly. What does it feel like to approach challenges with complete confidence that they will resolve in the best possible way? How does it feel to know that no matter what happens, it will ultimately benefit you? What is the feeling of moving through life with the assurance that everything is always working in your favor? By focusing on the feeling essence rather than specific outcomes, you allow the universe to bring your desire to you in ways that might far exceed your specific imagining. You open yourself to possibilities beyond what your current mindset can conceive. This is the true art of trusting the process and focusing on your inner state. It's not about forcing yourself to believe something against all evidence. It's about tapping into the reality of this state in the only place it truly exists, in your consciousness. As you practice this, you may find that your outer world begins to shift in subtle ways. Perhaps opportunities you never noticed before suddenly seem to appear, or challenges resolve themselves in unexpected ways, or you find yourself feeling more at peace and confident, regardless of external circumstances. These are all signs that your inner shift is creating ripples in your outer reality. Don't discount these small changes. Celebrate them. See them as confirmation that the law is working, that your assumption is taking root. But don't become attached to them or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from your assumed state of trusting the process. As you persist in this practice, larger changes will begin to manifest. You may find yourself naturally attracting favorable circumstances. You may notice that even seemingly negative events end up working out in your favor. And as you continue to trust the process and focus on your inner state, you'll discover that life becomes an exciting adventure, full of wonderful surprises and perfect unfoldings. But remember, the outer manifestation is not the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness from which the perfect unfolding of your life naturally flows. This is a crucial point, my friends. When you're truly trusting the process and focusing on your inner state, when you're fully embodying this consciousness, you no longer need external circumstances to confirm your assumption. You're already whole, already complete in your knowing that all is well. And paradoxically, it's in this state of inner assurance that you're most likely to experience a life where everything does indeed work out perfectly. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about taking action? Don't we need to do things in the physical world to make things work out? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process. But it's inspired action, not anxious doing. When you're living from the state of trusting the process, ideas and opportunities will naturally present themselves to you. You'll feel inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions. These actions won't feel like struggle or effort. They'll feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is the difference between making things happen and allowing them to happen. When you're trying to force outcomes, actions feel stressful, born out of fear and doubt. When you're trusting the process and focusing on your inner state, actions flow naturally from your assumed state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly how to bring about the best possible outcomes. Consider the example of a river. A river doesn't strain to reach the ocean. It doesn't force its way through obstacles. It simply flows, naturally finding the path of least resistance. You, my dear listeners, are no different. When you align yourself with the state of trusting the process, you allow your life to flow naturally and effortlessly towards its highest good. But let me be clear, this state of allowing is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate assumption of the feeling of trusting the process and knowing that everything is working out. It requires faith, not blind faith in external circumstances, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. This faith is not about believing that things will work out someday in the future. It's about knowing that everything is already working out perfectly in the realm of imagination, and that the outer world must inevitably conform to this inner reality. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in your assumed state, you'll begin to see evidence of things working out in your outer world. These signs may start small: an unexpected solution to a problem, a fortuitous meeting, a sudden insight that changes your perspective. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that your inner world is indeed shaping your outer reality. They are breadcrumbs leading you to the full realization of a life where everything always works out for you. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to address a common concern that arises when people first encounter this teaching. Many worry that if they fully embrace trusting the process and focusing on their inner state, they'll become complacent or lose their drive to improve their circumstances. But I assure you, my friends, the opposite is true. When you're truly living from this state, you become more inspired, more creative, more willing to take inspired risks, because you know that no matter what happens, it will work out for your good. This isn't complacency, it's ultimate confidence. In this state, you're not driven by fear or lack, but by joy and an eagerness to see how wonderfully things will unfold. You take action not because you're trying to avoid negative outcomes, but because you're excited to participate in the perfect unfolding of your life. This is the true gift of trusting the process and focusing on your inner state. It's not just about creating favorable circumstances, although that will happen. It's about aligning yourself with the flow of life, with the creative power of the universe. It's about recognizing your own divine nature and allowing it to express itself fully through you. In this state of alignment, of knowing that everything always works out, you become a channel for the most beautiful expressions of life. Ideas flow to you effortlessly. Opportunities present themselves naturally. The right people and circumstances appear in your life at the perfect time. This is the magic of living from the state of your wish fulfilled. But remember, this magic is not something external to you. It's not some cosmic force that you need to appease or manipulate. It is the natural expression of your own consciousness when it's aligned with the truth of your being. You are the magic, you are the miracle. You are the one for whom everything always works out. As we draw our time together to a close, I want to leave you with a final thought. The principle we've explored tonight, this will bring you the fulfillment of your assumption. Trust the process and focus on your inner state. Is not just a technique for creating better circumstances. It's about recognizing your true nature as a divine creating. It's about aligning yourself with the fundamental laws of the universe and allowing your grandest expression of life to flow through you. When you live from this understanding, everything changes. The world becomes a friendly place filled with infinite possibilities. You no longer see yourself as a small, separate being struggling against external forces. Instead, you recognize yourself as the creator of your reality, the author of your own perfect unfolding. In this state, there's no need to fear or worry, for you understand that everything, absolutely everything, is always working out for your highest good. Your job is simply to assume this state, to live from this consciousness, and to allow the universe to take care of the details. So, my dear friends, as you leave here tonight, I urge you to embrace this principle with all your heart. Don't see it as a technique to be applied occasionally, but as a way of life to be lived continuously. Use your mighty imagination to assume the state of trusting the process completely. Feel the naturalness of being someone for whom everything always works out. Live from this state. Persist in this assumption, and watch as your world rearranges itself to match your inner vision. Remember, you are not a helpless being pushed around by external circumstances. You are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness is the one and only reality. All things are possible to him who believes, for belief shapes reality. In your journey of trusting the process and focusing on your inner state, this belief becomes your guiding light, leading you unerringly to the realization of your perfect life. Go forth from here with this knowledge. Apply it in your life. Test it, prove it to yourself. For in doing so, you'll discover the truth of who you really are. You'll tap into the limitless power that has always been within you, and you'll experience the joy, the freedom, the fulfillment that comes from living in alignment with the laws of creation. The world is waiting for you, my friends, not as a place of struggle or uncertainty, but as a playground of perfect unfoldment. It's waiting for you to recognize your true power, to step into your divine nature, to become the person who knows with absolute certainty that everything always works out. So start now. Feel the reality of being someone for whom everything always works out. Let this feeling permeate every aspect of your being. For in truth, you are already that person. You are already living in a reality where everything works out perfectly. All you need to do is open your heart, embrace this truth, and allow it to express itself more fully in your experience. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The perfect unfoldment of your life is within you. You are the miracle you've been waiting for. Embrace this truth, live from it, and watch as your world transforms before your eyes. Trusting the process and focusing on your inner state is not a state of blind optimism, but a state of alignment with the fundamental truth of your being. Go forth now, my dear friends, and apply this principle in your lives. Trust the process. Focus on your inner state. Feel the reality of this truth now, before any external evidence appears. Live from that state, persist in that assumption, and watch as the world rearranges itself to match your inner knowing. For this is the true secret to bringing the fulfillment of your assumption into being, and it is the key to realizing your highest potential as a divine, creative being.